I'm going to keep coming until Palestinians stop dying. So that's why I'll be here every Saturday, week in, week out, until they stop bombing Gaza.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out again and again and again and again. We can still save our humanity. We can still save our souls. We can still save our values. And yes, we can. And yes, you can.
I am Jewish, and I'm here today to say that this is not a battle between Jews and Muslims and Jews and Palestinians. Now, somewhere on this march is a Jewish bloc of more than 1,000 people. I don't think they've got here yet. A fortnight ago, the Jewish bloc was 1,000. One of my members there wrote this: "As we stand in increasing numbers on the side of the road, our placards make it clear who we are. Something magical happened. Other protesters started clapping. We chanted together. A Muslim is leading our refrains. But what happened the next day? There was nothing in the media about Jews marching with Palestinians. What there was tiny instances of anti-Semitism. All the media did was look for evidence of so-called anti-Semitism. So for a long time, I and my fellow Jews have been saying how dangerous it is to confuse criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. There is another danger, and that is to misuse the Holocaust memory. I don't need to tell you what that memory is. For nearly all Jews, it's a memory of murder on a huge and terrible scale. But this, what is happening now, is nothing to do with the Holocaust. And it is a terrible danger to bring false memories, to call what is happening now anti-Semitism. This is what I think caused Israel, America, to give Israel carte blanche. It said to Israel, do whatever you want. In fact, however cruel, and it was cruel, the Hamas attack on civilians on the 7th of October was, Israel has to be judged exactly like every other country on the same terms. We all know that Israel has been carrying out war crimes. Hamas carried out a war crime, Israel's carrying out a war crime. There's a Jewish professor on the march today called Josephine Rose. And what she's written about is the way that human beings try to blame someone else. Now, this is what's happened in Israel. In Israel, what is happening is that their identity is of a victim. They feel like a victim. And a victim feels they can commit any atrocity.
Okay.
We have to stop the victimhood. We have to make people look at Israel like any other country. But I think something else is changing. Despite the targeted murder of journalists, pictures have come out of Gaza showing the results of the siege, the devastation, and the merciless killings. Jews and other activists are telling us what happens in the West Bank. And I think this is getting through. Listen to what David Cameron said last night. Israel must act in a way that delivers its long-term security by Palestinians living in peace and stability and security in this land at the same time. So that's our message. There can be no peace for Israel without peace for Palestine. I'm not a religious Jew, but I want to finish with something very wonderful from both the Bible and the Quran. I talked to a rabbi friend of mine, so excuse me please, a little bit of religion for us all. This is what the Bible said. Whoever destroys one soul, it is as though he has destroyed the entire world. And whoever saves a life, it is as though he saved the entire world. This is what the Quran says. We decreed upon the children of Israel that whoever kills a soul, it is as if he had slain mankind entirely. And whoever saves one, it is as if he had saved mankind entirely. I beg us all to remember our humanity and stop the killing now.
I am here today with the Black Jewish Alliance and thousands of Jews who know that today we as Jews are with our people because our people are people who believe in human freedom without exceptions. This is not an ancient religious conflict, and it's not too complicated to take sides. Palestine is a very modern site of settler colonial violence, and my Judaism teaches me to stand always with the oppressed and never with the oppressor. When Jews pray, we sometimes say Elokeinu v'Elokei Avoseinu, our God and God of our ancestors. I am here today in the name of my ancestors who were excluded and exiled, degraded and murdered by white Christian Europe. My ancestors were called human animals too, so in their name I say free, 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 free. Make no apologies for saying it. We stand in the anti-racist, anti-fascist tradition. We stand for all human freedom. Free, free. Free, free. In the name of the finest traditions of my people, who have for centuries fought for a world where nobody is exiled or excluded, degraded or murdered. Nobody. In the name of Moses, who stood before Pharaoh and said, "Let my people go." In the name of the prophet Isaiah, who told us to feed the hungry and free our prisoners. I stand in the finest traditions of my people when I say, when I chant, when I sing, from the river to the sea. Don't make any apologies for saying it. It's not a chant of hate, it's a chant of universal love. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Louder so they hear us. We stand today in London, where so many atrocities have been planned from Ireland to India. We stand in the heartland of imperial violence, and unapologetically we stand on the side of human freedom. So say it to Swela Braverman, say it to Rishi Sunak, say it to Keir Starmer, from the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! There are people, including in my community, who fear those words. There are people who have seen so much ethnic cleansing that it's all they can see and hear. They cannot imagine what we imagine, what the anti-colonial tradition teaches us, that we stand for a world where everyone, Jewish, Muslim, Sikh and Christian, people of all faiths and none, we stand for a world where everyone can live and laugh and pray in freedom. We stand for a world where every checkpoint and machine gun is gone. We stand for a world where every refugee can return. We stand for a world where nobody lives under siege. A world where Jews and Palestinians need not be enemies, because none of our safety will be predicated on the dispossession of others. That's what we mean when we say, from the river to the sea. To those, I'll finish with this. To those who fear those words, I say join us. To Jewish people, I say come home. Come back to our best traditions. And remember the immortal words of 47 Soul. Every land is a holy land, and every people is a promised people. Freedom to all.
So I'm just going to start on a personal note today, because not only am I a British Jew, I'm also a British Bosnian, and today is Bosnian Statehood Day. And not only am I Bosnian, my mother's family is from Srebrenica. And if you don't know what happened there, on one day, over 8,000 Bosnian Muslim men and boys were killed for no reason other than their ethnicity. And when I look at Gaza, when I look at the faces of the people who've lost their entire families, I see the same look that I see on the faces of my relatives. It's heartbreaking. 18 members of my own family I never got to meet because of the same hatred we see playing out in Palestine right now. But I'm here. We're all here. And the Jewish bloc is here today, who I'm going to shout out because there are, once again, hundreds of Jewish people who feel safe enough to stand in solidarity with Palestinians. And solidarity is love made political. The reverberation of the atrocities in Gaza and Israel are felt here in Britain. We're all feeling it. I continue to watch appalled and dismayed as our government, the Labour opposition, and indeed Jewish communal leadership continually fail to call for a permanent ceasefire. Who in a moment where international pressure could stop more senseless killing, they choose not to act. And divide and rule politics is all around us. Mosques are attacked, Jewish schools are defaced, and the struggle against anti-Semitism is co-opted to mobilize far-right mobs who do not keep me safe. Islamophobia and anti-Arab racism continue to rise alongside increases in anti-Semitism. So let me be very clear. Our government doesn't care about Jews. They only care about us when we are willing to act as a cover for their anti-Palestinian racism, their foreign policy objectives, or their enthusiastic dismantling of our right to protest. You do not fight anti-Semitism through the suppression of Palestinian solidarity, and we are not kept safe by the police or by racist attacks on our Muslim siblings, and we are not kept safe by James Cleverly or formerly Suella Braverman or their colleagues, and we will never be kept safe by besieging Gaza or building apartheid walls or occupying Palestinian land. We keep each other safe. And we are here today to make it clear that Jewish safety is inextricably linked to the safety of everyone who is minoritized and marginalized, including and especially Palestinians. Jewish liberation and Palestinian liberation have never been opposed to each other, and you cannot have one without the other. We stand shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand, to call for an end to the killing. And I stand alongside Palestinians and the thousands of supporters calling for an end to the senseless killing that we see. We stand alongside Jewish groups in Israel, in France, in Switzerland, in Germany, calling for an end to occupation and apartheid. And we will not be intimidated, and we will call for an end to the structures of oppression and the beginning of a collective safety. Namad was honored to be cited by Nada Tarbush, the Palestinian mission to the UN, in her speech in Geneva. And we affirm we stand together to end this pain and this suffering. And I want to affirm that we stand here as Namad, not in spite of the fact that we are Jewish. We stand precisely because we are Jewish. We know the sound of the shofar is a call to justice, and we know that justice is something that we will pursue until the end of our on Bosnian Statehood Day to stand with you and say that true freedom is a collective endeavor, and none of us are truly free until we all are. So we choose life over death, love over fear, solidarity over division, and a free Palestine over occupation. Free, free!